Welcome back to Books with AR, Chapter 46, Strange Old Man. Wang Lin put away the stink bomb and looked at Li San. He said, "Brother Li San, I won't bother you anymore, so please continue selling." Li San nodded. He revealed a friendly expression and said, "Brother, you must be careful with those stink bombs. Remember, they don't always work because they require a certain throwing technique. If you don't succeed, don't say I lied to you." With that, he continued to tout to the other people. "Fellow brothers, I still have another treasure. This is a keepsake from the Huan sect. With this, you can go to the Huan sect to get a beautiful girl. This is something I got through a lot of painstaking effort, but I'll sell it based on our friendship. Fellow brothers of the Heng sect, you mustn't miss out on this chance." Wang Lin chuckled. He turned around and headed back to the herb garden. Not long after, he had arrived at the garden. He scanned the garden and found that Sun Dazhu was not there. So he sat down cross-legged in his room and took out the 3 stink bombs to examine them. After a long time, Wang Lin revealed an interested expression. These stink bombs appeared transparent under his divine sense, as if there were no secrets they could hide. To say it plainly, there was a trace of Li San's divine sense in the stink bombs that allowed him to detonate them at will. Wang Lin never knew that divine sense could be used like this. After carefully mimicking it, he overlapped the divine sense in the stink bombs with his. He didn't destroy Li San's divine sense, but surrounded it. If he wished to, he could destroy it at any time. The use of divine sense on this stink bomb inspired Wang Lin. He pondered a little and took out the mysterious bead. If divine sense can be used like this, can it be used the same way on the bead? Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his divine sense quickly gathered on the mysterious bead. After a long time, Wang Lin frowned. The stone bead looked like it hadn't changed, and under his divine sense, it looked the same as always. He pondered for a moment, then he took the stone bead and left the herb garden. At the fastest speed, he went to a secluded place in the mountains and entered the dream space. The moment he entered, he knew that time was of the essence, and he quickly spread out his divine sense. 1 minute, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. There was no change. Wang Lin rubbed his chin and muttered, "Can I really not leave my divine sense inside the mysterious bead?" At that moment, one of the glowing objects suddenly began to shine brightly, then finally dimmed. Wang Lin was stunned. Then, like a chain reaction, other glowing objects started to dim. Soon, all of the glowing objects in the dream space dimmed until there was no light remaining and the dream space became completely dark. Wang Lin was shocked. He carefully observed for a long time and couldn't find anything unusual. An old voice suddenly appeared. "I don't need to observe anymore. With your spiritual movement stage, trying to see through the heaven-defying bead is just wishful thinking." Wang Lin was startled, and his pupils shrank. He had been in the dream space for dozens of years, and this was the first time he had heard someone else speak. Wang Lin took a deep breath. He suppressed a shock in his heart. He clasped his hands and respectfully said, "Junior's name is Wang Lin, and senior is..." Wang Lin was a smart man. He didn't think that the person had suddenly appeared, but had been there all along and had observed him for the 30 years he had been in here. As a junior of this small country, you don't have the need to know this old man's name. You used nearly 30 years of time with my help and the help of the stone bead and only reached the spiritual movement stage. That is truly disappointing. Especially your perception. You only now thought to use your divine sense to scan the bead? Your way of doing things really annoys me. Cultivating is a heaven-defying act. If anyone goes against you, you should kill them. I have observed you in these few years that you have been at this dog-shit sect. If I were you, I would have killed all of them already. If anyone dared to insult me, I would destroy them completely, especially that Wang Zhu. He really gets on my nerves. With my temper, I would have taken his soul and thrown it into purgatory and then wiped out his family. I really like that Zhang Hu in your sect. Quite vicious. Also, that Junior Liu really suits this old man's taste. Wang Lin's expression became odd. He wryly smiled. Senior, Don't interrupt me. I haven't finished speaking. Your small sect also has quite a few good-looking ladies. You really don't know how to enjoy yourself. If it were me, I would have caught them and refined them for their soul. Huh. The taste really makes me reminisce about the past. I haven't tasted it in over 30 years. Wang Lin was dumbfounded and couldn't speak for a long time. Brat, can you work a little bit harder? Hurry up and reach the soul transformation stage so this old man can come out. Wang Lin hesitated. He was somewhat confused and asked, Senior, what is the soul transformation stage? And what did you mean when you said I was at the spiritual movement stage? Can't you think for yourself, always asking about everything? Forget it. For a little cultivator from only a rank 3 cultivation country, even if you think until your head explodes, you won't figure it out. Listen well, brat. I'm talking about the cultivation realm of a rank 5 cultivation country. In a rank 3 cultivation country like yours, there are only 4 realms: chi condensation, foundation establishment, core formation, and nascent soul. As for the spirit forming stage, it would be a thing of legends in your eyes. Once someone reaches the spirit forming stage, then your country's rank will be increased to a rank 4 cultivation country. With that, the country will be provided the appropriate resources from the Cultivation Alliance, and the country would also gain the right to fight for cultivation stars outside the country. The country would also need to undertake missions to protect the Alliance. Similarly, if a soul transformation appears in a rank 4 country, it would be raised to a rank 5 country, and so on. As for the spiritual movement stage, it is a stage commonly used in rank 4 country or higher. It is similar to the chi condensation stage, but has a broader range. Welcome back to Books with AR, Chapter 47, Exchange 1. Wang Lin bitterly smiled and said, Soul transformation is simply too far away for Junior. Bullshit. With me, who is from a rank 6 country helping you, what is the soul transformation stage at all? Although I can't go out, I have been using my nascent soul essence to help you cultivate for these past 30 years. Otherwise, with your lack of talent, how could you have reached this stage in 30 years? And because you absorbed my nascent soul essence, besides people on the same cultivation level as me, no one else can see through your cultivation. Also, with the heaven-defying bead in your hands, what do you have to be afraid of? It took me painstaking effort to obtain this bead when it appeared in the Cultivation Alliance, resulting in me losing my body. My soul would have destroyed if I hadn't escaped into this bead. Originally, I wanted to take over your body, but this damned heaven-defying bead... It seems that if someone without a body enters it, they can't leave. I won't lie to you. When I first saw you, I wanted to take over your body, but this heaven-defying bead is like a cage that prevents me from leaving. I studied this bead for many years. This bead must have an owner before many of its effects can be used and I can be released. When I obtained this bead, I was being hunted, but I had some time to study it. It must absorb the essence of the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth before it would identify an owner. But even so, the owner has to have reached the soul transformation before they can get me out of here. Little kid, show some compassion and cultivate faster. Then help me find a good body to use. I, Situ Nan, will remember your kindness, and with my protection, you can live a safe and comfortable life. At the end, Situ Nan's tone wasn't as aggressive as before, but filled with regret. Wang Lin pondered a little. Right when he was about to speak, Situ Nan's voice came again. Brat, someone came. I'll help you leave. Suddenly, the tearing feeling appeared. Wang Lin's body shook, and he opened his eyes.
he sent out his divine sense and found two disciples, one male and one female, quietly walking toward Wang Lin's direction. About 30 meters away from Wang Lin, the two stopped and started to kiss and flirt with each other. Soon, they both took off all their clothes, and their moans echoed in the surroundings. Wang Lin was very familiar with these two disciples. Both of them were at the back mountain. He curiously looked at them for a while, especially at the female disciple, before he reluctantly left. Back at home, Wang Lin thought about what Situ Nan had said. Wang Lin didn't fully believe his words, but he had really learned a lot about how the cultivation world worked. Wang Lin didn't believe he would lie about those things. 3 days later, the exchange between the Heng Yu sect and Huan Dao sect officially began. This was a long-standing tradition between the two sects, so there wasn't too much fanfare. The location was set on the Pine Mountain Peak of the Heng Yu sect. An arched stone bridge connected the two peaks of the mountain. Wang Lin had seen the peak of Pine Peak Mountain from a distance, but could never get a clear look because of the clouds. Pine Peak Mountain was one of the important locations of the Heng Yu sect. It had high spiritual energy density, like the back mountain, and was where the two core formation elders went to cultivate. On top of the Pine Peak was a large stone platform prepared for this exchange. It was surrounded by 8 large pillars of white jade with the Heng Yu sect's 500 years of history carved on them. After arriving here, a majestic air radiated from the white jade pillars and immediately transformed into killing intent that pierced the bones. Friend Heng Long, every time I see these white jade pillars, it feels different. No wonder this is a treasure of the cultivation country of Zhao. Old Man Ouyang sighed and waved his hand to destroy the killing intent. Behind him, all of the Xuan sect disciples were shocked. In that moment, the killing intent made them feel as if they had entered a battlefield. They felt almost crushed by this feeling until Elder Ouyang dispersed it. Co-fellow Ouyang, this is a treasure our founder personally made. Within 100 meters of the white jade pillars, any non-Heng Yu sect disciple will be pressured by a killing intent. I believe Elder Ouyang understands, so please excuse us. Heng Long's face remained calm. He hand-formed a seal, and a gentle light shot out from the white jade pillars. Like large hands, the lights moved the clouds that covered the peep away, and the killing intent also disappeared. Before him, all of the inner disciples cracked their knuckles. Elder Ouyang turned and talked with the other two elders before saying, "No worries. According to the old rules, we will send the first one. Li Feng, you can go." Li Feng was the male with the pure water spirit roots. He smiled, then took a deep breath and arrived on the stage like lightning. He said in a clear voice, "Xuan Dao sect Lu Feng asks the Heng Yu sect for pointers." Wang Lin stood behind Sun Daju with the flying sword on his back, wearing his red disciple clothes. He looked quite majestic. Sun Daju was very satisfied with his disciple's appearance. Ever since Wang Lin had reached the 3rd layer, whenever he looked at Wang Lin, he was no longer as annoyed as before. Although he was far from liking him, he was at least starting to see him as his disciple. Of course, this all depended on whether or not Wang Lin could manage to get past the 3rd layer. If, after 8 to 10 years, Wang Lin was still stuck at the 3rd layer, then Sun Daju would probably hate Wang Lin again. In these 3 days, Wang Lin almost never left home. He spent most of that time in the dream space, talking with Situ Nan. After a number of conversations, he came to some understanding about Situ Nan. Situ Nan was the rank 6 country of Suzak's #1 expert. His cultivation was at an unimaginable level. He would kill anyone that annoyed him, steal anything he wanted, and was extremely arrogant. Because of the appearance of Li Feng, the scene became very quiet. The sect head, Heng Long, looked at Li Feng and said, "Zhao Long, you go." Zhao Long was a very silent disciple. He was one of the disciples that had reached the 6th layer after the intense training. The Heng Yu sect sent out a 6th layer disciple in the first round. This was a rare occurrence in the exchanges. Elder Ouyang didn't mind and said, Lu Feng, for this fight, I'll allow you to use 50% of your power. The moment he said those words, the people of the Heng Yu sect's expressions all changed.